Well, good morning. As we're sitting here at LTV on this beautiful morning, indeed a beautiful morning, Friday morning, March 22nd, year 2024, here with the Halolo Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Halolo Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, Francis Ann, and of course the likes of you out there that make it your business to enhance and fortify the concept of public access. The magic is twofolded. The fact that it's a no-brainer, self-explanatory concept, and the fact that you actually don't even have to be aware that you are contributing so much because it just has its own energy that is fermenting within you once you can have that willingness and show the willingness, and from that point on is just unfolding in a very I don't even want to say magical way, very effective, technically speaking, self-oriented, and therefore the results is as you see them. We have an incredible entity here that stretches from end to end in the face of the concept that is thriving through the communities of the United States. It's actually one that we are very proud of, and it shows uh, this is what we have to show for when it comes to the concept of public access. So we really want to be um, feeling very tight with that, and in addition to what's already Mother Nature is taking care of, the addition of by us focusing our intentions and therefore achieving results that are formidable and impressive, as you can see here at the station. We also have monthly group art shows that I've been curating for about 26 years. We have a women's show now that's going to be on display until the first week of through the first week of April. We have Josephine Worcestershire. We have Liz Sloan, a very exciting young artist from Montauk. We have Ellen Colcord. We have Fan Yu Lin, fantastic artist from New York City. And of course, we have Lenore Bailey. Lenore Bailey is a force to be reckoned with. She started about 40 years ago. That's when I met her. The artist dinner slash engagement slash interaction slash sharing in a friendly atmosphere environment, and also uh, Judy McDowell did it also for many years. That was a concept that was thriving, very helpful for the community. And then also we have did I cover Teresa Lohler? She has three sculptures here. Very sensitive, capable individual. Also with her contributions as far as the Artist Alliance is concerned is a no-brainer. So we have an exciting one. I'm about to show the full body of work of Frank Sofo that passed away. God bless his soul. Very dominant energy and force in our community that his passing away will be noticed, and we'll miss him. So I took upon myself to accept a full body of his work so we can show it for 4 weeks here at LTV, and that in itself is just wonderful. And this is what I say, that how public access lends itself to you, to us, without making us feel as if we're like getting something for nothing, so to speak, because our engagement is the return for that effort that exists on the behalf of a constitution that we have. The kind of constitution that we have has a lot of incredible things suggested and stated as a no-brainer, and also it has a mechanism, independent mechanism, that it serves as an encouragement to what it already expects from you to take it as a granted, as a given, for granted. But some people don't really, because they need a little push. So the Constitution, lucky for us, has an additional mechanism, an ingredient that serves as a reminder by way of injecting some inspiration and encouragement. I mean, how great can it be? Too good to be true. So that's what we're doing here at LTV. And here with this particular show, the Hello Hello Show, Fraser Dougherty, the founder of LTV, of course, with a group of other people, but he was the main leading force, approached me. He started this show in 1980, and he approached me in 1998 and asked me after. He said he confessed to me that he asked many other people, but it didn't work, and other people he ruled out. And he comes to me, and he knows that if he's going to get a yes answer, then I will live up to what it is that he's expecting from me. So, my reaction was, listen, I'm already a producer at LTV, and I do things. It's all volunteering, and it's all, I have a full hand, and plus, the Hello Hello show, the first 12 years was at 7 a.m. So 7 to 9, 2 hours. It's like very demanding, almost like um, a burden. I thought it was a burden until I realized it was a gift. It was a privilege. But anyway, so I had a back and forth with him. He knew, and I said, Fraser, maybe I'm not made out of the same materials you made out of, because you take things for granted. I do too, but I know when to stop and where to kind of be realistic. So I didn't say yes immediately. It took a while, and then when I said yes, I told him, I remember, try not to try to break me in. I just want to kind of get it in a way where it will be blending with my personality, and therefore it will stay like this throughout the evolutionary process from as we speak now, and that means 26 years ago, that I'm like feeling everything is fresh, everything is known yet unknown, everything is succumbing yet challenging. So this way it allows my personality to blend in. So even if the evolutionary study process suggested the degree of difficulties and obstacles and challenges, no matter what, as I progressed and marched forward, it became less and less as far as obstacles as concerned. The journey became fluent. But I didn't say yes right away, because I took that concept, and especially this show, the Ololo show, because it was um, the additional parallel spine that was in sync with the spine of, we may call it the core of the earth, or the core of the code of conduct that is embedded in us as human beings. So it served as a partner for like a union partner, and at the same token, and a self-sufficient independent entity, which actually makes it as special as it is. So so when I started the show, I was wondering, how can I not wonder, because I wanted to just kind of benefit the implications of the immediacy of that engagement. Okay, I come, and you know it was like I come, and I'm there. The first show that I sat and all this, it wasn't scary. It was just challenging in a way where, like, as almost as if you know the basics of jazz and you're a drummer, and then there's the real book with 1,000 standards and all this, and you kind of know how to play, but you don't really. You're not a professional. You kind of know how to play, but you haven't played for a while, and then you sit in a jam session with a quartet, and the first thing will be smart to say to them is, hey, I know the drill, but I'm a little slow because I'm a little rusty, so take it easy. And so you kind of sharing with them. Never mind that sometimes this triggers the other members of the band to test you and do exactly the opposite. By the way, I remember an encounter once that I did here in Sag Harbor. It was the jazz jam session out of uh, the the burger place that was there. I forgot now. It's Goldberg's, right on the Bridgehampton Sag Turnpike. So anyway, I went there, and the only time, the first time that I actually found myself at the jam session, and of course I had to write my name and all this, and then the drummer came to me, and for some reason thought that it's necessary to give me advice or to direct me not to play too loud or something like that, which in itself was like a damaging remark or suggestion. And at the same token, when I started playing, the I told them that I didn't play for quite a while. I know how to play and this now whatever, maybe sometimes it's a mistake to do it. And then we played, out of all the tunes in the world, we played Giant Steps. It's like it's like so I was telling, okay, Giant Steps, let's take it a little slower anyway. But we started playing, and then I realized this is not working because they're knowingly, intentionally ignoring my. I didn't. I knew that something wasn't. It was wrong. Then is also on the behalf of people being unfair or and not trustworthy, so to speak. If for a lack of a better word. And then because I come from the source of an epitome of freestyle, meaning that I'm an abstract, I'm a drummer that has the tools to abstract the intentions of you contemplating the possibility of slowing me down, serving yourself as an obstacle in my path. A long sentence, correct? Yes. Uh, less that they knew that my forte is actually operating in this environment. So while we were playing, I looked at them and I said, "Guys, let's slow down a little bit." And I felt like they're ignoring me completely. So I completely shifted into the alternative, into the, uh, into the like da 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 ba da 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 ka di 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 da 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 di di, and they're playing da da di da 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 di di di, you know, da 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 di da 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 da, things like that in the drums, very comfortable. So suddenly something happened that informed them that they need to pay attention to it because it's it's musically um, uh, what is it um, uh, decently musically decent. So they realize that I'm off and that I feel very comfortable as if if I don't know where I am, that means I know very well where I am. And so I continued to do it, and I turned to them again and I said, if you're gonna ignore me, I'm gonna play whatever I want. And we're actually playing, like really. So then we went back to it and they slowed down and I went right back into it. Da 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 da. And then they went really fast again. Then I said, hey guys, slow down a little bit. And then they wouldn't listen. Then I went free. I mean, I was actually almost kind of wishing that they will maybe take the opportunity and say, what the heck, let's go all the way out, all the way in, and therefore all the way out. Like, let's, let's play avant-garde or freestyle coming from something other than the world of avant-garde and freestyle itself per se. That the technique serves as a subject matter already in a very, very beginning. So that in itself is magic. If I ever can consider anything magical, that's magic. They realized the force behind it. I was very satisfied. We went back to complete the tune Giant Steps, and I kind of felt like afterwards I felt like I don't think I can continue to play. It's like it was something like, you know what, you made me aware of the feeling that maybe there is such thing as too easy and I don't want a part in it, or I don't want a part of it. Too easy. Uh, because in the language of the three stages of every layer is absolutely real. Just like when they say, even if it's the mind playing tricks on you, still the pain is real. That's why you need to take some painkillers, and you need also to know which painkillers to take. So it's like a fair game, even though you're the only participant. Can you imagine that? It's a fair game, even though you're the only participant. You're gonna make the rules, but you adapt the rules of that's established out there universally, and you kind of bringing it and filter it and fine tune it and make it yours, but still be loyal to the vision that fermented and opened up in order to come up with this concept and send it forth to the world. It's got to be pausing in order to respect the founders. You must do that. I feel like I must do it. I do it all the time, but I don't dwell too much. Even when I go to the even when I go to the museum and see the greats and I go there in order to see the greats and their great work and I observe and I examine and I enjoy but I don't dwell too much. I take what I need to take. I mean, once I got to the point where I looked from all the directions that I needed and take a deep breath in and out and look at the skills. Yeah, oh man, this artist must have approached this canvas maybe 200 times at least. And every time he approached it, he did something. So this is a story of commitment. I go to check the grades by way of examining the work in order to see their code of conduct, the degree of dedication to the process itself, the non-wavering attitude, and their ability to conclude. I repeat myself, the ability to conclude and therefore make that end result possible, because that's what we want. We want to make that end result viable, visible, possible, realistic, existing, and before and also in addition to it, you're the creator, so you get the credit also. You don't have to explain the world how you do it. You just need to do it and to be able to give the answer if the question relates to the content and the border that confines it into that space. It sounds a little too rigid and maybe negative or destructive of some sort, but it's not, because when you pay attention to it in the way that I want you to pay attention to it, this feeling will go away. It will not bother you. It will bother you only in the early stages. The green light that we either give ourselves or receive from the unknown territory that we're just we threw ourselves into, is actually more accurate to say than saying we've been thrown into it. We've been thrown into it is more like a form of speech in order to tell us ourselves that we're actually taking ourselves and moving us from point A to point B. And when it comes to skills, when it comes to a medium, artistic medium, the artistic medium is something that you own. This is a deposits. This is deposits of achievements on many different levels. It doesn't have to be that your achievements consisted of the highest form of excellence and and so much more, like the peak of each layer and each aspect. Ups and downs are okay, but there's a certain line you try not to get too close to, because it will spell uh, red line, red light, red sounds. But you know the many faces of the medium that you engage in, and you can be engaged in many mediums and cross implement also. But when you start with, let's say, if you're in front of a canvas and you're also a poet and you write poetry, so yeah, of course you have a project, you have a, a focus, a point of focus, and a, a, the relevant point of reference for that particular moment, for these particular sessions. So when you venture into the, like, let's say we're just going to start a poem here because it's something, because something, and then travel from the short poem that you wrote into your I don't know, electric drum machine, and test something. Uh, Paradiddle, double stroke paradiddle into a triola single stroke roll. Like a language that everyone supposedly can understand, but you're the only one who really understands it instantly, because by the time people get to understand it, it changes its nature, and it just travels into because behind it there's a force of a person like me. It doesn't have to be an incredible force, it's just a meticulous force that relates to a certain scenario that he's aware of. So therefore, this kind of a, a certain kind of a loop that is in motion, whether fast or slow, regardless. And this is actually working, and it's working according to plan, and it's working according and based on a, a composition that is pre-established and is well known by those like myself that are engaged in it. And for the longest time, you will be the only one engaged, and it will continue to be like this until you decide that you are going to allow people by way of you when you share, that means you suddenly the world will have access by way of uh, uh, by way of making certain things available at available to people that are always in constant search. Uh, so you have to make many decisions in order for this to kick in and for to externalize these things without dwelling, i.e., saying that I'm just going to stick around. Even if it's going to be picked up by other people, I still want to be a part of it, so I'm going to stick around. Of course, now I know better to not even think about these things. I need to continue with my journey. And in the meantime, of course, we're going to share, we're going to contemplate, we're going to philosophize, we're going to socialize, we're going to interact, we're going to act as mathematicians and as musicians and as poets and as kings and queens and princesses and princes. We're going to do as we wish. We're going to do it playfully, but because we are actually, while we're doing all this, we are engaged in one of the mediums. Let's say, for in my case, dominantly is painting. Stand in front of the painting, and doesn't matter. You're in episode number 178, spelling almost 200 applications, and you know the extent of it. You know the implications. You know what it suggests. You know what it speaks for, and you know also how to achieve the goal. Because uh, I remember when we had the show here from 1998. No, actually from 1980 to 2013. It was 2 hours from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and a rerun of it was midnight to 2 a.m. 4 hours we were on the air, and these 4 hours were like, wow. Can you imagine? Okay, how many guests can you have? And even if you're going to have a guest every day, you know, people cannot fathom the possibility that they're going to sit and be interviewed for half an hour by anyone. But and then you find a way, you find a way to create an interaction where people would be as if you meet someone and you have coffee, and even standing somewhere in the street corner and chatting and realizing, so, oh my God, 15 minutes, almost 1 hour, we were standing and talking here. So I imported that which I can learn from this scenario of randomly meeting someone and interacting and asking each other what's up, and then ending up talking about Nietzsche all the way to Gandhi and Buddha and Einstein and whoever, you know. Uh, so the importing that into the equation of my incredible need, because I understood it very quickly. But it took a long time until I was capable of doing what I knew that I need to do and what it takes. Was a daunting task. So first of all, I erased the fact that I'm thinking of it as a task. It wasn't a task. It was something that needs to be done. It needed to be done. If you wanted to continue and to accomplish the ability to inhabit 2 hours, 120 minutes, and insert into it form and meaning and structure, and of course hope for the best scenario, which is interacting with people sitting in front of you, and you ask the question, you say, so what's this and that, and how on the relationship to this and that in the face of that and this, and then Sometimes your guest will say, uh, uh, if I understand correctly what you're asking, which happens to be fascinating question, and then he or she goes to and that, and because of that, and despite the relationship about this and that, as opposed to that which stands in the depth on the shallow surface of the extreme height and all this, and he said, "Oh my God, this is it. Who is this person?" Anyway, so you go and you say, but uh, I, 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 I want to commend you for being able to grasp the extent of that wondering slash question of mine. All this, I don't take it for granted. Usually, that's not the case. So, if that's the case, then what about that which mixes with the ingredient that is so important? Is actually not. It's just an addition, an additive. It can survive on your behalf. So then you come in. What does it mean when then you come in? And you go forever back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, to tell you that it works like that with everyone, well, that's wishful thinking. But now and then it works, and then you want to tell that person, you need to stay, you need to hang around, you need to be available. Look what just happened, and then you form a full body of work, and then you learn about the benefits and the importance of achieving full body of work, achieving anything that you can show for to begin with. Why not? Because now and then you will be stopped and audited and say, and then what do you have to show for? Well, of course, you will always have to show for more than they will be, they can bear to witness, because every witnessing requires examination. How many people do you know that have so much time in their hands when they have to allow time for examinations of a lot of them daily? It's not once a day. So you you realize that entertainment, when you entertain certain ideas early on, already comes to your mind. I need to find a way out, and I'm learning my lessons, and this is experience, and this most probably will not happen again, and it does happen again, but less and less and less, and then you realize, okay, free yourself from, even though I don't necessarily like to use the word free yourself, because free yourself sounds, but yeah, liberate yourself, free yourself, allow yourself a little more space in that sense to learn the lessons while that vessel that you're operating is in motion, regardless and nevertheless, and despite it's on the go. It accumulates results. It has its own achievements, and it achieves it in its own style. And you sometimes just serves as in the background as a supporter and supporting item. Suddenly you pushed in the forefront, and suddenly everything else follows you, and you like just kind of painting everything by just pinpointing rather than covering big, huge territories, spaces, chunks, blobs. And suddenly you become drawn into the background, and suddenly you're the tree, you're the desert, you're the water, you're the oceans, but you're quiet and you're just succumbing at the concept's disposal. So, and then you pushed again to the forefront, and now you're like a revolutionary, and a scientist and an inventor at the same time. But everything goes unchallenged. When I say unchallenged, I mean obstacles by that point actually coherently, willingly, knowingly choose not to participate because they want to be successful. If they stand in their way, knowing to a certain degree of certainty that actually they will manage to accomplish their job, which means to slow you down, to stand in your way, a lot of things, simple, a lot of things. And I can't begin to tell you that. Let's see. I would have to just. Anyway, so the just see that. Voila. Okay, so 25, 68. So it, so the second stage is a revelation about your capability and your ability, and it's only a one encounter. You're aware that you're actually uh, able and therefore available, and that you get to know the quality of people and get to admire it, respect it, nurture it, cherish it consistently, especially about others. I learned that, yeah, well, everything can become artificial and fakeish and plasticish. But for the most part, people will perform if they'll get a crash course, if they need one, if they need to know about it, about whatever it is, uh, they'll show capability. If you show up to tell them, you know what, I got 10 minutes, I can give you a crash course and tell you, by the way, don't make that left turn. Once we're done with this conversation, avoid this left turn. Continue straight instead. And you know immediately that you have a partner. Why? Because right before that conversation, you were contemplating, should I take that left? Sounds like it feels good to take that left, but then there's warning lights flashing all around hovering over my head, my brain and whatnot. Um, and suddenly a psyche, a force, and energy shows up and makes its voice heard and telling me, no matter what under the circumstances, don't take that left. That's a great beginning. Now you come uh, when you engage. This is the news I'm going to break to you. There's certain things that once you engage in that concept, in that journey, it's usually very short. First encounter, first experience makes you a veteran instantly. You become a veteran. You graduate after the point of impact represents the first encounter, first scenario, first channel. Right there, you already graduated. But then again, we don't want to bring into the equation big words, slogans, sophisticated sounding sentences, declarations, um, you know, creating sentences for each word, that's and makes it kind of endless, but endless in a way that it's okay. So, okay, that was great, but what are we gonna do? Are we gonna take it somewhere? That was brilliant, but are we gonna kind of learn something from it? That was out of this world. Are we gonna believe that it's actually leading us to something in somewhere that is different than where we are now? And it goes on and on. You have to act upon your achievements because eh, to achieve means never never stop. You cannot stop, not even instantly. There's something very kind of disturbing about it, but extremely rewarding. So the sensation of reward and being rewarded appeals more usually more than taking under consideration the option that maybe we should do without it altogether. And these feelings will come to you. Maybe we should do without it altogether. Visually, that's like how some once I was approached by an employee of a bank where I had a bank account, and he says, maybe we can do without you. She said to me, maybe we can do without you. But it's an incredible situation where an employee of a bank, especially like the certain person, let's just say, that I know worked there for many years, and because there was a moment that people find that they were tested a little too aggressively, even though they understood, they interpreted into being aggressive because they had no tools to understand its level of intensity. So the interpretation went to be concluded as this is an intimidation. And because it's intimidation, it's intentional. The source that inflicts that on you is actually aware that he or it or she are doing it. Crazy scenarios. But uh, eh, we need to believe that our neighbor is just as smart as we are. I mean, I sometimes I find out that I don't say sometimes hi or good morning or something to some people who live next door to me or something. And then I always torture myself, like, why didn't I raise my head and do like this? And I don't feel that always. Instead, I'm like pretending like, okay, you're here, I'm here, but I'm the only one who exists. Because I wear this and because I can do that, you won't see my face. So you cannot accuse me of seeing you, ignoring you. I didn't know you were there to begin with. Now, but I know that I ignored you and I made it look like as I didn't even know you were there to begin with. But it's okay if you can teach yourself not to feel, create the pain that you're gonna feel afterwards. Because it doesn't matter who created the pain. If the pain has been created, someone is gonna have to go through it. Someone is gonna have to go through it and resolve it before it goes away. So you can be just an innocent bystander that got hit by it and paying the full blunt of the whatever or whatever, like a punishment or something. But lucky for us that when we find ourselves in our natural environment, i.e., the the eternal point of reference that we created to ourselves and left behind, because it's always you know you know protecting our back and giving us that feel that by a slight push I'm behind you. It's not like I'm going to push you and give you a little hand. It's more like I'm letting you know that I'm here and you are just don't know yourself from happiness, from a sense of accomplishment. But the indication of, because sometimes you can be up to no good. You can do all the things that you think you're just on top of the world and you're doing good and all this, but you're actually not, because you're kind of doing things wrong. And there is a right way and a wrong way. I don't say that in everything. In what I'm talking about, the evolutionary process, the process of creation and being the person that orchestrates the chain of events. And that's a lot, because people at some point, sooner or later, will encounter this, and they will look at this and they say, "I hate it," or they will look at it and they will say, "How dare he or she?" But in between these two declarations, there will be a build-up of understanding, sophistication, and level of difficulty. So when the third time yields itself, and now you have to really, your reaction is going to have to make sense. So now you're talking. So from "I hate it" to "how dare he" comes "I don't get it." You know, that 1 + 1 = 2 is just a little too simplistic in these instances. So this revelation gives you this justification to contemplate and to entertain certain ideas in certain avenues and certain grounds where you didn't visit that often, mainly because you were not quite sure that you have the right tools to survive in this environment that you're going to remove yourself into. And there is such things, especially if you take yourself as an artist who's serious enough to see himself or herself in for the long run. And when I say for the long run, this is not just like saying for the long run, or just to be able to get away with it by saying, I mean, for the long run, in terms of depth, in terms of distance, in terms of heights, in terms of width, in terms of uh, 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 expansion allowance, you know, expanding, inflating. This is what I mean. So quickly enough, you realize that once this is happening and you need to react, you just want to uh, forgive and therefore ask for forgiveness yourself, kind of thing. And kind of, yeah, kind of. Forgive and then therefore, say, I need your forgiveness. We need to be able to go back to, because it's on hold while I'm talking to you. Even I'm talking to you about the process itself that it entails getting through emotionally and spiritually and mentally, whatever. I mean, that's how I feel. I have to go through that. It's almost like brushing my skills, my knowledge, memorizing. This is how I take it. So the way I judge, for example, what just happened in this hour is by way of my ability to begin to achieve the middle, understand the composition from up above, and continue to accomplish that stage crucial in finality in order to say, okay, concluded. And of course, concluded spells I'm happy about it because I went through that already with you. There's no time wasted. Okay, now let's examine if it is really newsworthy. Yes, newsworthy. What a word. I mean, what a sentence. What a two-word combination. Newsworthy. I never heard these people say newsworthy. No, newsworthy. And it's crucial because I don't know. You want to be a part. You want to belong to that which you really alienate yourself from, for the most part, when it comes to still keeping the channel of communication open. It's as simple as that. So you want to say, listen, if you don't have to understand all about me and what I say or how I do. You can keep enough opening for other things to kick in. There's a world of unfoldings and layers revealed and recoveries when it comes to what I do, what I say, what you do, what you say. So you achieve that, and it you don't have to wait too long to get the results. Because don't you know? I mean, I see my friends, the artists, great artists, that they toil and they like, and I look at someone and I say, why did you just do what you did? I mean, don't you realize there's like a shortcut? Like if I understood right, that you're aiming to get to this, and so why didn't you do this, that, and then you're like in half of the time you're there and you're actually more uh, composed because you anyway. And yeah, people understand that, but they don't necessarily do something about it. But because you cannot participate with anything regarding that individual that you just suggested something to, because by suggesting you completed your task, or at least that's what I dictated to myself. And in the same token, if someone wants to share something with me, which people do, and I benefit from it, I also sometimes have my own way to stop them when I realize that they're just like doing more than is needed, and I don't, and maybe it's not a good idea because I want to enjoy what they already gave me. So I distract them with something that takes us to another story or another subject matter, so to speak. And it works. And it works. And I guarantee for you that it works because not many people do it. So that dimension of energy is not being used too much, and usually it welcomes you if it sees you there. It there's enough help, very few participants, and it will grow. I hope for this world that it will grow and grow and grow, because that spells, improving the defense mechanism and the immune system of this us, this this dimension, this scale, and we have to do knowingly and unknowingly, indirectly or indirectly, as much as we can in order to add to the chances, the odds of our this thing with about planet Earth and the moon and the sun and maybe some nearby constellations, whatever. We don't need to understand. I think because yeah, even if you don't understand, nobody taught you. You already know about what's there, and constellations upon constellations and all this. You know what? The Kabbalah already gave us the exact amount of stars and planets and whatever. It 2,800 years ago. But who wants to go there when we got the chance to serve as artists and to write a poem because simply because you want to write a poem and simply because it's a no-brainer for you that you think it's important to write a poem. So you write the poem and the poem leaves you alone. You don't leave it alone. It leaves you alone. And now it has a mind of its own, life of its own. But let's just say you need to share it with people. And you want to stand in front of the podium and say, and the da 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 da, and you recite your poetry and you da 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 da, and people are looking, examining, sniffing, inhaling, moving, smelling, whatever, and you da da da. Na, 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 and they like this, like that. Something important happened there. Everybody sensed that you this, but bottom line, nobody remembers nothing. Really, really, there's a void that is scary. But the only thing that saves the day is that there's always one image, one description, one metaphor, something that it remains in your head, like something that belongs to distances that belong to your forefathers. Something like a sailboat, sailing back and forth, and it's just sailing on your alternative mind, brain, and so then you realize, oh my God, I don't recall much, but that which I recall is so powerful. It doesn't seem to leave my head, my mind, my soul. So right there, you got the answer. How long are we going to live anyway that we will be so spoiled to expect that the reservoir of whatever that which it is or isn't out there will be replenished every day? How long of a life would we have if sometimes we get stuck with one encounter and unknowingly finding ourselves entangled and consumed by one little tiny thing, and we don't know if to love it or hate it, if to think it's good or bad. But one thing it's there to stay. And maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's not. But if it is a mistake and you realize that it's a mistake, now you don't know how to fix it. And then you say, oh, sure, the other day, the other time, early on, I knew what was it that I didn't do because I thought in a certain way that if I was to do that, I in this situation, I would have some tools to work to fix it and to continue right on like nothing happened. Yeah, things like that are real. Things like that are real in the climate of if finding yourself with an incredible special desire to want to create, and you don't seem to be worried too much about capabilities, expertise. You cannot take whatever it is that you need to take as a given, and it's all you say it's all in the day's work, and you say I cannot do I cannot outdo outdoingness. It's like that which represents outdoing is actually been pre-established long time ago because it's something needed to create that which you are required to outdo. It's real what I said. If you maybe if you just heard what I said, maybe you can rewind later and see exactly what I said because it was right on these perimeters where uh, adjustments are needed. So that's a given, and then this trust that by now you know that the system itself is very helpful, and you can count on it. It's like your alarm clock. Even though you remember, but it's kind of nice to be reminded because another entity tells you, well, we have your best well-being as a part of our concern. So therefore, you got a friend. We'll back you up. We'll inform you if there's red flags or whatever. It never hurts to have some support, regardless where it's coming from. It never hurts. Always welcome gestures of entities, Mother Nature, friends, people, you name it, uh, showing willingness to contribute. And by doing so, I actually telling you we care about you. And maybe that spells love, it's incredible. Notice it, identify it, take advantage of it more than otherwise you would have, It's a guarantee that you're actually not only doing the right thing, but you're getting some stuff injected into your whatever, Just some good things. So speaking of public access, speaking of living in where we live, that for people it's important to have, you're allowed to go anywhere and just speak your piece. It's okay. It's okay. Let people love you, hate you, resent you, accept you, hug you, push you away, whatever. Do your thing. It's another proud day for democracy, for freedom of speech. Even though a lot of people, including me, sometimes we say, it's like, freedom of speech. What is it all about? Speak up your mind because you're allowed. That's what it spells. You want to say something? Why didn't you say it already? You can definitely say it now. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear street language. You don't want to sound too, uh, uh, I don't know, over the top poetically or something. Don't use too many metaphors. Also, don't even use too many examples. Just kind of speak yourself. Speak yourself for yourself about yourself. What is it that you know? How do you put it together? Go to the obvious. Go to that which is a no-brainer for you to describe and to spill it out. And you know, it spells success. It spells something is being achieved, and now it's somebody else's problem to figure it out, or to figure out how and when and where and why and how come we're gonna send it to the next step, next stage, and it's like mission accomplished kind of thing. So, as I mentioned, let me just mention that we're sitting here on Friday morning, March 22nd, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show, and my name is Haim Mizrahi. As I'm continuing the tradition with public access and the Hello Hello Show that's been on there since 1980. Of course, I mentioned Fraser Dougherty and Francis Ann, and of course, many of you out there. And we know of your effort and we appreciate it and respect it. So please, 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 if you're not already someone who is making it his or her business, to put something together on top of something and try to refrain from thinking of discoveries. Think more of recoveries. Everything kind of that needed to be said has been said already. Anything that needed to be created has been created already. So our task is really to recover, to say, what was that? And then you go and you kind of dust it, and this, and you realize there's something there. Oh my God, there's something there that's complete. Has all the way A to Z, one to infinity. And now now I realize, man, I need to brush up on my capabilities, my knowledge, my experience in order to take not the burden, but the commitment. Now I'm revealing it because it was already created, and the concept that it represents were discovered due to that. So now I'm recovering. And it is an important task, not less than the actual inventor, discoverer, the original one that made it his or her business to actually take the time and put it in writing or put it on the surface as an evidence, record it or something that people later say, wow, 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 wow. You know, uh, it's like reading Rainer Maria Rilke when I did years ago. Sometimes I don't know. I didn't read his material lately, but I read a lot of his stuff, and he would be like, "Wow, look at this guy." And I'm trying to think about the times that he lived in and his mental stage, physical, and it was amazing, amazing. It left its impression on me. So let's just say we're going to be here tomorrow. And by the way, thank you for your patience listening to me and stay, and keeping the time for that interaction. It's important for me too. We're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday and as much as we're here this morning of Friday morning, March 22nd, year 2024. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. I know you're out there watching and I appreciate it. You just don't know to what extent I appreciate it. I really do. God bless. Have a beautiful spring and so much more to come.